What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Slam Sessions right here on YouTube.com. This is another Slam Sessions live stream. I gonna really level with you guys. I don't have editing equipment at my home computer. Many people who have actually seen my stuff prior to this, stuff that I've done where I've worked with Dave Lee. We have a school that we both did, and we use that to. Hey, Joshua. We use that to do most of our editing and stuff like that, but I don't have access to that right now because I'm home. And unfortunately, I won't be going to Jersey tonight to do my show. And unfortunately, that means that I'm unfortunately not able to go to my show with Dave tonight. The weather here in New York, where I am at, is kind of crappy. And I'd prefer to, save my sanity and my life and send myself all the way out, send myself out there. TJ, Zach, what's going on, guys? How are you guys today? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. See, it sucks about doing this. Here is, I can't really show. I don't know. I have a small window here. I'm wearing. If you guys are major wrestling figure podcast listeners, I'm wearing my Stomp in Paradise shirt, and I'm kind of happy about that. I wanted to show it off. I feel like when I'm doing the live stream with Dave, I can actually show things off and show off like the shirts that I wear. And I feel like people always ask me which wrestling shirt I'm wearing this week, and now when I'm here, it's a smaller screen, and I don't know. I got to get myself situated. I also have to get myself a better computer. So, thanks, Zach. I appreciate it. I'm a big wrestling figure fan. I know Harry, who, if he comes here sooner or later, he's asked me specifically to do a show about my wrestling figures, and eventually that's going to happen. It's something I just have to put together. I'm in the middle of kind of working on a bunch of things, and I'm still in the middle of the process of ordering a whole bunch, so I don't want to kind of spoil that. But enough with the housekeeping and a little catch up. Wow, TJ, thank you. I appreciate that. Look, don't get me wrong, guys. I love doing the show with Dave every month. That I'm not going to be able to do it this week, but it's the highlight of my week. Working with Dave is a lot of fun, and talking to you guys is always a good time. And Zach, I did hear about the Young Bucks bringing back the LJN line. I think it's great. I think I also heard, and this is a great thing about being about Cody being I think he's right around my age. He talked about bringing back the mechanics to the old school WWE Nintendo 64 video games. And what's up, Double A? But he talked about bringing like that mechanism back, and then using that for with updated graphics, and hopefully that's the AEW video game. That would be awesome. TJ, it's LJN was the original wrestling company. They had the big giant. I wish. Where are they? I think they're all the way over there. If they weren't so far away, I'd go grab them. But they're the big giant rubber wrestling figures that were like the first ones that WWE ever made. The big one is the iconic one more than anything else is Hulk Hogan. He's just kind of like sitting here like this, and just looks like he's about to body slam you. But that's what LJN was, the company that made them. So I'm a big action figure collector, so that was the that was the question, and that's why it was posed to me. Oh, nice, TJ. Yeah. Those are the first WWE figures. They were they were pretty popular back in the 80s. Those are the first I actually ever had. My older sister was actually a big WWE fan, and I started watching wrestling right around when I was like 3 years old. And when I got into it, I was almost ready-made there because my sister had a whole bunch of the big giant rubber LJN figures. And then once I got to be older and they started being produced, the next set are the Hasbros, which, if you guys remember from the 90s, they're the smaller ones. I could give you an example. You can actually see over my shoulder, that's Ric Flair in the corner. I got to do it on the screen here. There we go. Right there. That's where Ric Flair is hanging out. I have him on my shelf up there. Degenerate, what's up, man? Um, so yeah, that was those were the figures when I was when I was younger and growing up. And those were my favorites. Josh, I hope that that Dave's ratings don't suffer. 2 thumbs up already off the bat, guys. Thank you so much. 3, guys, you guys are awesome. Can I explain my tattoos? All right, so this is just my left arm, which is incomplete, by the way. I'm a big Green Lantern fan, so that's that. This means strength. This one over here means ambition. I have one underneath my arm that's crossed. It says Ti amo in Italian, which is I love you. I got that from my grandfather. Jay, thank you for telling people on Discord that I'm live. And 4 thumbs up. You guys are awesome. I can't thank you guys enough. So, yeah, that's pretty much the idea behind them. I also do have 2 of my actual dog who passed away. That's the other tattoo I have, and the other one I'm covering up. I'm not even going to mention that. Degenerate, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. And Tori in the Hall of Fame. Look, here's the thing. There's a lot of people saying there's a lot more deserving women to go into Hall of Fame. Off the top of my head, I know like Miss Elizabeth, Victoria, in my opinion, Luna Vachon. These are names that, yeah, they deserve to be in there before Tori, but also you don't want certain women to overshadow certain things. My thing is about the Hall of Fame this year is that I'm just not impressed. I'm a huge Honky Tonk fan, Mark. I'm really happy Honky Tonk's man's going in the Hall of Fame, longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. I mean, his run was great. His interaction with Randy Savage and his team when he was on Jimmy Hart's, on Jimmy Hart's tutelage with the Hart Foundation, Brett the Anvil, that was some of the best television ever. When he broke the guitar over Randy Savage's head with Brett and the Anvil holding him, it was a big deal. I was a big Honky fan. He was a big, right square in the middle of a lot of the big things that happened during the golden era of the 80s. But Tori, man, Molly Holly, Bull Nakano, Stacy Keibler. I don't know about Stacy Keibler, but I'll give you Molly and Bull Nakano. I went Pretorian. I don't see a career Hall of Fame worthy. On top of that, yeah, I mean, I get that. A lot of her stuff was bra and panty matches, mud matches, all that good kind of stuff. And I get that, that was it. Kissing other women like Dawn Marie on television. I do understand that. But, she was a trailblazer. I don't know if Sherry's in AA. And if she's not, I think she is. But if she's not, she obviously deserves it too. But I'm pretty sure she is. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Zach. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure she is. But yeah, I mean, I get that, that maybe it seems like she's going in ahead of a lot of other people, but you have to understand, my friend Mike actually put it together really well. He said that making the Hall of Fame list is like making a wrestling card, and you can't have certain people overshadow others. TJ, the reason why the Hall of Fame was 5.5 hours last year is because 4 hours of it was Hillbilly Jim. And, I don't mind that Tori's going in. I think she deserves it. I think she was a big star in, what's up, Vinny? She was a big star in WCW. A lot of, the Filthy Animals angle, a lot of big stuff that happened there. She was one of the 2, major stars with Stacy Keibler to come over from WCW to be like the women of WCW. I don't mind that Tori's getting in. I think it's a smaller induction on the women's end. So I think that actually kind of makes it a little bit better. If Taker's going in, who should induct him? Oh, a part of me wants to say Vince, but I know Vince wouldn't do it. Vinny, I'm gonna get into that. 205 Live is a part of the rebranding that I'm doing. I mean, I would love Paul Bearer, but obviously he can't do it. So I'd be okay with Bruce Pritchard now that he got rehired. Brother Love, his first manager. I wouldn't mind that. But guys, let's get to why I'm here. So today I'm going to talk about the idea that a friend of mine had actually started talking about me. Oh, Kane's a good choice too, Vinny. Yeah, definitely Kane. That's another good one. But it's a conversation that a friend of mine and I had, and he said, there's a lot of people who are being wasted on the roster right now. And I thought to myself, it kind of makes sense. And we started talking about the idea of, yeah, unfortunately, the WWE might need to start cutting some weight from its roster. And we might have to unfortunately see that some guys lose their jobs. And I don't like the idea of that. I think that there's a lot of talented guys on the roster. I think there's a lot of guys. There's only so many spots you can fill on Raw and on SmackDown. So, if you want to start somewhere, you've got to figure out where these guys can factor in. So my idea was to combine 205 Live with WWE Main Event and build a fourth brand. And the idea for the fourth brand is that it's actually a rotating roster. So anyone can go anywhere and on any show at any time. And that's the fun of the idea of having the fourth brand, is that it's totally floating the entire time. You combine the 205 Live roster with a floating, ever-changing roster of a whole bunch of other guys from the Raw, SmackDown, and NXT roster that changes over time. The idea behind the NXT roster thing is now, instead of getting what we're seeing with guys who are listed on my list, like Heavy Machinery, Aleister Black, EC3, Johnny Gargano, Ciampa, Ricochet, they have a place to go. Guys, 6 thumbs up. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, guys. It means a lot to me. What's up, Harry? I was just talking about you. I don't remember why. Oh, we were talking about action figures before, and you just missed out. But they have somewhere to go and someplace to apply their craft. And Vinny, I know. Aleister was called up. I believe Ricochet's called up officially too. I think they had their send off over the weekend. But the idea is that if you build this fourth brand, it's basically a main roster brand, but it's not one of the big 2 shows. They have a place to go and things to do and ways to see, these guys other than just being on Raw and SmackDown. So, the idea was to combine all these rosters into a floating roster, and these are the guys that I put on there. And I'll give you the idea of why I chose certain of these guys and how I would build this whole thing. So first, it's a 205 Live roster. And surprisingly, that is a small roster. As of right now, the only guys on the 205 Live roster are Akira Tozawa, Ari Daivari, Brian Kendrick, the champion Buddy Murphy, Cedric Alexander, Drew Gulak, Jack Gallagher, Humberto Carrillo, Mike Canales, and Tony Nese. That's it. Those are the only guys that are exclusive to 205 Live. So to me, how are they carrying? Now, I'm admitting I'm not a big 205 Live watcher. I don't get to watch that show too much. Double, I'm a Jets fan. Just to answer your question there. I don't 205 Live. So, but my thing is that how are you building building an entire brand around these certain talents? And there's not much meat on the bone there. There's not a lot of guys there. So what I would want to do is now take that 205 Live roster, integrate them with some of the other main roster guys that we see, and here are the guys that I have listed that I would start this brand off with. So Harry, Lucha House Party is listed on the 205 Live roster, but they're also listed on the Raw roster, and they're actually on the Raw roster, but also compete on 205 Live. Same as Humberto Carrillo is on the 205 Live roster right now, currently, but it says also competes on NXT. So, those are the guys that are specific to those brands. What I would do is I would combine them with these other guys. First of all, I would take the NXT guys that I mentioned before. Aleister Black, EC3, Tucker and Onish, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, and Ricochet. And those guys are, bring those guys into this show, which would be, I would call just WWE Main Event. And that would be it. It's Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and Main Event. Those are your 4 brands. And Main Event would be Main Event featuring 205 Live. Double A, the funny thing is that I've never met Steve, and I have no rivalry with him. He never took my place. My place is usually on Mondays, and, that's it. I agree, TJ. It is hard to book a show like 205 because there's not a lot of meat on the bone. There's not enough talent. And there are guys that they can put over there for a little while, but it floats them just for a little bit, just to get by, and then they have to go back to what they have. And how many times are we going to see these certain guys just get title shots? I mean, we were already earlier lost to Hideo Itami. He got a title shot at the Royal Rumble, and now he's not on the roster anymore. He's gone. There were rumors that I've heard only good things about Steve. Nothing bad about him at all. Just throwing that out there. But I've never met him. But they can throw other guys over there, and they can do whatever they need to do, like the guys from Lucha House Party, like some other guys who might be able to really really push the boundaries on 205 Live. So now you combine these guys with the other guys like I just named from NXT, and also these guys. And yes, I agree. Look, I think Itami would have been great in WWE if he didn't get injured so often. It was just a bad luck run for Hideo Itami. But the guys on SmackDown that I would also put onto this other brand would be Aiden English, Alexander Wolf, Eric Young, and Killian Dane, Primo and Epico, and Sin Cara. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot. My favorite wrestling video game was WWE No Mercy. Best game ever. It doesn't seem like a lot of guys from SmackDown, but what it does is it adds tag teams and it adds other guys on to work with these other 205 guys. Where it really gets interesting is I loved Here Comes the Pain. That was a great game too. That was the best of the PS2 games. Where it really gets interesting is the Raw roster. So now I would take the Raw roster and put Apollo, the B team, Hawkins and Ryder, Breezango, and like I said before, the guys from Lucha House Party, Grand Metalik, Jesus, I can't speak, Kalisto and Lince Dorado. I would let Heath Slater and Rhino over there, Jinder Mahal, and Samir and Sunil Singh. Heath Slater and Rhino, I don't know if I said that already. Noe Jose, Mojo, Leo Rush, Titus, and Goldust. Oh, that would be a hard-hitting match, Jack Rowe. No doubt about it. Walter's just a heavy hitter. So that's a lot of guys right there. Harry, yeah, that's a great idea. Put some stakes in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Maybe not even on the title shot after WrestleMania, but maybe they get a shot at the Intercontinental title the night after. Make it interesting. And yeah, Vinny, basically it would be a brand for the undercard guys that don't get used on TV, but there has to be stakes to it because who's going to watch mid-card guys? That's what main event is, and I don't think anybody's really watching main event. So what you do is you make it a real deal fourth brand by defending the 205 Live, the Cruiserweight Championship on there, creating another tag team title specifically just for that brand, and having a 32-man tournament to crown the first ever WWE television champion. You now put stakes onto that brand. What that television title can do is give somebody like Ricochet or Aleister Black or EC3 or Gargano and Ciampa the idea to fight for a main roster title that will get defended on the pay-per-views, but then also get their first run with the belt before going and moving on to Raw or SmackDown. Now the idea is to now take these guys from this floating brand and move them over to Raw or SmackDown when you have the right opportunity and story. This way we don't see EC3 not talking, and we don't see EC3 standing around and just basically doing nothing but going tit for tat with guys like Dean Ambrose, and then not being on Raw the next week and not being on SmackDown. And Harry, yeah, that's the idea. So maybe that's how Kurt Hawkins gets their first tag. Hawkins and Ryder break the streak and they get their first tag title. You do like a fatal four-way. Oh, the Ascension also would be on here. I don't know how I left them out. I did see the NXT spoilers, unfortunately, because I like watching NXT live, but there was a lot of stuff I actually wanted to see, and I'm actually behind on NXT right now. So that was but I don't want to spoil it for anybody else who hasn't read them. I like to usually watch it live, and it's actually unfortunate that I actually watched it. I dropped my pen. So I would put all those guys onto this one brand, have a tournament for the first ever WWE television champion, and now you have the idea that we have a main roster show with a main roster title, with main roster tag team titles, and now we can have a fun thing where, let's say the Usos run through the entire SmackDown Live tag team roster, but Eric Young and Alexander Wolf are the main event tag team champions. we can have those guys go at it. And now let's just say Young and Wolf win from the Usos. Now they are co-branded champions. They can lose those titles, the tag titles, to another team on the main event show, and it keeps everything back into flux. Now, a guy like Aleister Black comes in. Maybe he wins the tournament and becomes the first ever WWE main television champion. Then he's running through guys, and you have a better story to tell than just he was on NXT. So Josh, you were saying, all right, WWE should cancel the 205 and have the cruiserweights on all the shows. The women should be the fourth brand. They already have 2 titles. All they need is add a mid-card singles title and have a 1-hour show instead. See, I get the idea of that. But if you put everybody, the idea, look, and I've had a lot of people tell me the same thing. There's too many titles. And I understand the idea behind that. But if you don't put a title on this brand, you're not giving this brand enough stakes. The idea, I mean, if you put the cruiserweights on every show and you make the WWE brand a women's only show, you're alienating your women's audience from Raw and SmackDown. And it wouldn't be a separate NXT for the main roster guys. They'd all be under one umbrella. And then when they can be properly used on Raw or SmackDown, they can now be moved over there. And now let's just say, for instance, it's not all the guys I listed, but let's just say it's half of those guys. And now let's just say, for instance, Heath Slater and Rhino have a run where they're getting wins and they're beating tag teams, they're beating the Ascension, they're beating the B team, and they're beating Breezango. Let's say Breezango comes back and they beat them, and they're going to go for the tag title shot and they lose. Then they can get put back onto the other brand. Combine the Raw and SmackDown tag and women's titles. I don't like combining belts because there's so much talent. I like the fact that Asuka's going to have her own opponent at WrestleMania. I like the fact that Becky and Charlotte and Ronda are going to have this triple threat match at WrestleMania. There's going to be 2 women's matches. And now we have the women's tag titles, which even excel it even better. I don't want the women to be their own brand. I want them to be dispersed throughout the WWE brand because, and that's the thing. I don't like that the 205 guys have their own brand. I think they should be put on another brand. My initial idea was to turn NXT into a 2-hour show and put the 205 Live guys over there. But I don't want to touch NXT. Would you rather 2 thinnish divisions or 1 stacked roster? Honestly, I'd rather have the 2 thinner divisions and fill them out. The talent's there. It's not like they don't have it. SmackDown, isn't using Gallows and Anderson. They aren't. I don't remember the last time the Colognes were on TV. They're not using Saturday. And I don't want to get rid of the mid-card guys, But the thing is that let's say they can't hack it over on the main event brand, then that's the last part of them. And then it's like, all right, sorry, we have to cut you from this roster. Harry, go back to the beginning of the stream when you have a chance. I covered Tori Wilson before. I'm sorry you missed it. But that's it. These guys need a chance to prove themselves, and doing it on main event with no stakes isn't impressing anybody. I don't want to cut people, and I don't want people to lose their jobs, but I also understand that for the 205 guys and for NXT guys to move up to the main roster, like Mustafa Ali did, like we're seeing, and I don't know when we're going to see Lars Sullivan, but the rest of the NXT call-ups, there's no spot for them right now. Guys, I completely just disconnected. I don't know what just happened. So I get the idea. So Harry, you said Rusev can shine on the main event, and Beefcake in the Hall of Fame will Hogan induct him. I believe Hogan will. And yeah, I mean, see, Double A, that's kind of the idea. The idea is to swap out the rosters, but now we don't have to. We can bring certain guys to Raw and SmackDown and fit them where they're needed. We don't have to have, we can have specifically Raw and SmackDown guys, but then they switch over and they go to another brand, like the main event brand. But let's just say there's a call, there's a need for the B team on SmackDown instead of on Raw. They can go there without anything saying, oh, well, they're on SmackDown. They can't go over there. Kind of going to do a roster shakeup after WrestleMania. It's already been announced. We know it's happening. So instead of shaking up the roster into two brands, because NXT doesn't get guys sent back down to it, let's just throw another brand in. Yeah, basically, TJ, that's what I'm saying. It's like a free agents roster. Guys who can go from place to place, but they have their home base where they stay. And then, let's just say, for instance, Tucker and Otis are on SmackDown. And they get 2 tag title shots, and they lose both of them. So now they need another. Where's my phone? Now, it just fell. I'm gonna have to just hold it right there for a second until it's done. But now we're in a position where we get will the main roster be involved with the 4th brand, like have some main roster talent? Sure, absolutely. That's the idea. Bring more down there to work with some of these guys. The idea is to put a bunch of guys on there. 205 is less segregated. Let's face the facts. The cruiserweights are bathroom breaks. When was the last time the cruiserweight title was featured on either show? Josh, the last time the cruiserweight title was featured on a main show was, I believe, Survivor Series, and it was one of the best matches on the show. Nobody cares about what they're doing over there because nobody's watching what they're doing over there. So put them on a show with some substance. Let's give these guys a shot. Because we're in a position now where we're letting these guys on their own brand do a whole bunch of things. They have a general manager who's the manager of another tag team who doesn't even acknowledge the fact that he's not manager of a tag team on Raw. Let's give them this opportunity. The 205 Live guys, the guys who are coming up from NXT who deserve to be called up, and these guys who are on Raw and SmackDown that aren't getting, need a place to apply their craft. Let's give them that opportunity, but let's put some stakes with it. Because if you don't have stakes, nobody cares. See, Vinny, I think Seth Rollins is too big of a guy to use. I wouldn't put a main event level guy down there, but I would put a guy like Drew McIntyre. I would put a guy like Bobby Lashley, Finn Balor. My YouTube app keeps crashing for some reason. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, and I agree that, by segregating these talents and, 205 being a sideshow, like you said from the beginning, we're not giving these guys enough chance to shine. Tony Nese is amazing. Why is that guy not having matches with Seth Rollins or Finn Balor? I'd love to see that. There we go. Cesaro versus Ricochet. Perfect. Something like that. Gargano versus Cesaro. I know we just saw that on SmackDown. But we can bring these lower tier guys and maybe we get Cesaro his singles run there. Maybe he wins the tournament, becomes the first ever television champion, and he gets the singles push there by starting, but he's still teaming with Sheamus on SmackDown. This is going to give these guys a chance to shine. Oh, it didn't see. I'm behind on SmackDown, so it was Hardy's versus the Bar. Fair enough. So, I mean, that's a match that we want to see. Let's see it there. I mean, what do you guys think overall? Would that be something you would watch? Is that something you guys want to see? Because I know that I would watch it weekly. Give it to me. Double A, there's definitely room for intergender wrestling. In WWE, I don't know. I don't think that their sponsors will and yeah, Vinny, exactly. Johnny Gargano and Tyler Breeze, perfect. I think with all the sponsors and stuff in WWE, I find it to be very hard to think that it's going to be okay for them to get away with intergender wrestling. But yeah, I think AEW should feature that to be different. Yeah, definitely. NXT UK. They can definitely, let's give guys like Mark Andrews shots at the cruiserweight title. I could have, if there was just a spot, there was a spot. Here's the thing. I like the WWE cruiserweight style because they sell a lot more than other cruiserweights do. And I appreciate that, which is why I like guys like Cedric Alexander, Jack Gallagher, Tony Nese. Brian Kendrick knows the importance of selling. He's been around for a long time. He adds a lot of expertise there. That's the only thing I don't like. That's another good one. Lio Rush versus Sami Zayn. And that's perfect. We can bring these guys like Sami Zayn, down to this, level, down to this other program to work with these guys. Harry, that's awesome that the third AEW event is on your birthday. I agree. Cedric Alexander should be mixed up with those guys. No company's ever had a good women's and cruiserweight division at the same time. You're right. Oh, yeah, Sami Zayn versus Gargano. That's another good one. This is the brand where you get the Velveteen Dream versus Goldust match that everybody's been talking about since Dream came up. That's where you get that kind of a match. And that could be, maybe Goldust is the veteran who wins the TV title, Dream's the up-and-coming guy, and he wins it on the pay-per-view. Bam. Pay-per-view right there. We can have matches like, Aleister Black versus against Tyler Breeze. Titus O'Neil versus Alexander Wolf. Or Killian Dane. I'm not against the cruiserweights. I think they're great talents, but until Vince takes them seriously, all 205 Live will be the pre-show. Yeah, I get that, Josh. I understand that, but with us saying that, it's only going to come true. We need to support the brand and support the guys so that Vince doesn't forget about them. There you go. Shinsuke could have a career renaissance. He could run through everybody and then go to SmackDown and do the same. And AA, we do need ECW right now. The best comparison I have to ECW right now is Ring of Honor, but Ring of Honor's fallen off now that, the Bucks and Cody have left. They need to bring in more interesting talent to their show. But, guys, I like this idea. I think this is something that's interesting. I think it's something that's fun. I think it's something that we can sink our teeth into, and we can get these guys who aren't being used to be used. And if they're not being used well there, Tony Nese and Dolph Ziggler, that's another good one. See, Zach, I don't think so. I think New Japan is more WCW, just centered more around wrestling. What WCW almost was back in the 90s, where you got good matches. TJ, maybe MLW is. I'm not able to follow MLW because I just don't have the time. Like I said, I'm behind on SmackDown. I'm behind on NXT, guys, and NXT is my favorite wrestling show out there. But, that's what I think. Vinny, it's going to be hard that Y2J is in AEW, so I don't think you could do that. Nikki Bella versus Bayley. We can do it on the main roster. I don't think we need to put Nikki Bella down here. She's too much of a mainstream WWE star to put on a show like this. This is for guys who aren't, the mainstream it guy. So that's, and it's a network exclusive, and it's fun to bring back a television title because it gets defended every time that we're on television. Oh, that's a good one. Dunn versus McIntyre. Absolutely. And thank you, TJ. I actually have met Tony Nese a couple of times before. He is friends with a friend of mine who went into the wrestling business that lived in Staten Island. So, I just have a soft spot for Tony Nese. Albert, please know that I'm not against your idea. I think it's fantastic. And with the debut of AEW soon, I think it would definitely work. Thank you. Kyle O'Reilly versus Walter. Kyle O'Reilly versus anybody. Kyle O'Reilly's my favorite guy in the Undisputed Era. Albert, should I pick up the new Biker Taker with the Undisputed belt figure for $10? For $10? Hell yeah, you should. I would. I just added. Thank you, Zach. I've loved Kyle O'Reilly since he started teaming with Adam Cole in Ring of Honor. Walter versus Brock is my dream match right now. I want to see Brock versus Riddle. Riddle keeps talking a lot of crap about retiring him. I want to see Brock versus Riddle. But I just got the Series 7, the Series 6 retros. In the middle of purchasing 7 and 8. And then Adam Cole and Dolph Ziggler is a great match. And I just still need Series 1. So if anybody ever finds Series 1 retros for cheap, please either buy them for me and I will buy them back off of you, or let me know where they are so I can buy them myself. I can't find a reasonably priced Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. Kyle is so fun. He's so much fun. He's such a good worker. He's such a good talent. He's entertaining, and he's a sports entertainer. Like Adam Cole is too. These guys they're great wrestlers, but, they can do more than just that. They can entertain. And I don't think we ever got Morrison versus Kingston. I'd love to see John Morrison come back. That's another guy. Dude, I picked up the new Shield Epic Moments 3-pack. That's a really good one. That's a really good one. I really wanted that, and I never got it, and I'm a little upset about it. I still also have to get the Undisputed Era Epic Moments 3-pack. And I want the Festival of Friendship one, too. Just because I love Jericho and I love Owens. And Jericho's my favorite wrestler of all time. Pete Dunne and Alistair would be great. I don't know why we haven't seen that on NXT TV. Pete Dunne versus anybody it's going to be good. I love Pete Dunne. And there are certain guys we sleep on that could have really good matches. The Singh brothers are talented. Let them compete and let them wrestle a little bit more, and don't just push them as jobbers getting beaten by AJ Styles 2-on-1. Let them actually be a tag team. Oh, Harry, absolutely. That Hardy Boys Epic Moment, the Brood 2-pack, that's one of the best ones they've announced so far. That's a must-have. And, I was talking about the fact that I'm a loose collector. I open all my figures. I think they all should be let to breathe. Oh, Pete Dunne versus Kyle O'Reilly. Give it to me every day. Every day. I'll take it every day. But I got all the Retro Fests that have come out so far, the 4 of them, and they're hanging on my wall. They're never coming out of the package. They're too cool. 205 Live is a sleeping giant. I agree, and that's why I want to give them a little bit more of a rub. Let's put them some major stars on a show with them so they can get more of a rub. Favorite figure I picked up recently, you mean, Vinny? Honestly, I like the Retrofest ones, but the retros. Just in general, I just got the Series 6 retros, and I just started buying 7 and 8, and those are my favorite ones right now. And I actually, wait, I take that back. I ordered a Mr. Perfect, Head Shrinkers, and a couple other Hasbros. I didn't get the Jeff Hardy retro yet. I will. But I do want to get the Brood 2-pack. 100% want to get that Brood 2-pack. And that's going to stay in the box. I'm not a mint on card collector, but certain ones stay in the box, and the Hardys are going to be the one for me for that. I also recently got Axe and Smash Demolition. I'm still trying to find a reasonably priced Crush. I got all of them in the Hasbro. I want the Jax / Mattel ones. 55. That's not bad. We need better belts. Better belts as far as what? Harry, I would love to see Tony Nese and Buddy Murphy at WrestleMania. I'm down. Give me it. Give me it all. Absolutely, Harper. Absolutely. Better looking belts. So the Revival tease about bringing back the old school tag titles, and I'm totally okay with that. I want the new Elite Dean Ambrose and the Shield gear. Yeah, I have the original Shield. The 3 of them, Roman, Seth, and Dean in the original Shield gear. Dean with the slick back hair. Roman doesn't even have the glove yet. Rollins has the 2-toned hair. Those are some of my favorite figures that I have. I actually, because they're right next to me, Harry knows because I tweeted this. You can have a pre-trap prediction show for the NFL. I want to. Oh, Rhino versus Walter. I like that. I want to. I'm going to check to see if Avi's down to do it, and I think we're going to do it. So just because they're sitting next to me and I just picked them up, I don't have that Shield 3-pack, but I want it. Favorite title design of all time, the WWE Winged Eagle title. So these are the ones I just picked up just because I didn't have certain of these guys, certain ones of these certain figures, and I just recently picked them up. I just picked up Taz. I just picked up both Road Warrior Hawk and Animal of the Legion of Doom. These are two of my favorites. I like the tights, the blue and gold ones, which are a little different. Hawk came with all the accessories. Animal didn't, so I'm going to have to find them as well. That might be a little bit. I don't want the 2017 SummerSlam one. I have the one where he's in the black and green. And this was actually one that I haven't had, and I'm actually a little upset that I didn't, but I just recently got him. Just got Val Venus. But he doesn't have the long hair. He's got the short hair, which is a little unfortunate. But still, he's still Val Venus. And still one of my favorites. And I picked up this random TNA Jeff Jarrett. Because, Jeff just made his return. Thanks. Yeah, I like the Road Warriors. They're some of the better ones that I have. So yeah, but one day, don't worry, Harry. One day I will do a full show on my figures, and actually, it can't even be a full show. It's gonna have to be more than one show. I'll probably have to break it down into doing certain ones. Thanks, Josh. But yeah, I have to break it up and doing like my Hasbro's, my retro, and my maybe I'll do the Hasbro's and retros in one. Maybe I'll do my Bone Crunchers in one, and I'll do my Jack slash Mattels in another. I don't have the Cena in a purple shirt. I don't have many Cenas. I have a couple of his original run ones, with the white with the John Cena graffiti looking stuff on it. I have the Chain Gang Soldier one. I have just him in the camo shorts, the Mattel one. Maybe one other. I have him in Adidas pants, which is weird. Purple Adidas pants. Random. A lot of them came in lots that I bought off of eBay for certain figures that I wanted and didn't have it. Yeah, TJ, I think they came out with like 50 of them. This was in a special. It was a pack. It was a titles pack. It was how many figures do I own? Too much to count. I can't even put a number on it. Way too many to count. I would have to say 500 if I want to put a number on it, and I think that's wrong. I think it's probably more. I don't have that Daniel Bryan. That's a really sick one. There's a lot I want to go back collecting. So, my big thing is that TJ, just and Josh, just to let you know, I've been collecting since I was a kid. So this counts LJNs. I do. The only ones I couldn't find were my Hasbro's. I don't know where they went. But I do have all the ones, all my Bone Crunchers from when I was a kid, painted and colored on and stuff like that. And head swapped and body swapped. I still have them. And as I got older, my idea, do I have a favorite ring? The WWE Raw ring, the Jumbo Raw ring. That was my favorite one. As a kid, I always liked the original. I had the original LJN, which I can't find anymore. And I had what other ones that I really the original the original Hasbro ring is just great. I just got, and it's hard. You know what? Now that I'm here, I guess I may as well show you guys. So I just recently set up my retros, and I just set them up in here. I got the retro ring. So that's my retro setup so far. But yeah. So I once put Kane on Vince's head. That's a weird combination. I have the one of the Titantrons. I have the Real Talk Titantron. The now entering the Titantron. That I have that one. I don't have a full on setup with that yet. When I move into my into my own house, if I move into my own house by myself, forget about it. Yeah. Oh, the 6-sided ring was always really cool. I just didn't get. I never got the TNA ring. I have a few TNA figures. I have Samoa Joe, the Jarrett I just showed you. I have a Suicide. I have Bobby Roode. I have Sting. I have Storm. I used to have VHS tapes as my ramp. That's inventive, Vinny. That's good. I like that. My dad does a lot of work. He does like a lot of carpentry work. So there's always extra wood laying around. I would sneak into the garage, just pull it out, and make that my rampway. I had a bench that my grandfather built for me with my name carved in it, and penis speech. Oh my god! But I used to use that as like the stands. So like they would fight like in ECW, they would fight up into the stands. That would be like the stands. Then I had the ramp like next to it, and they'd come out. I used to have a ramp that would go from that I made, which was way too steep and made no sense. But it would go from my TV, and I would use the TV as the Titantron, and I would put play the YouTube videos for their Titantrons when they came out. That was my favorite thing to do. Wow, that's actually pretty cool. You know what, guys? 1 second, because now that I'm here, I can show you this. So we had talks about titles on Dave's show one day, and we asked about what belt I have, and this is the only one I have. I have the legit John Cena spinner belt. So this is the only belt I have. But I do like it. The one that I really want is the ECW television title, but I can't really find that anywhere. And when you have them, they're second marketed and they're really expensive. But yeah, this is the one I have. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I got it for really cheap, actually. Like there was a guy who I just think he couldn't get rid of it, and I think he just had to get it. But yeah, Double A, it's a little ugly. It's not my favorite belt in the world, but I like that I own it, and I like that it spins. And it stops. It just, like, I think that's like the Cena belt didn't have the stopper in it. But that's really cool. Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 25 attire. That's a really good one. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I've had a lot of fun doing this. I think that we're going to do this, we'll do it a little more often. I think I'm going to come back Wednesday. I have an idea that my buddy Marcos actually pitched to me about different factions playing against each other. And I want to see if I can get him to be on here on the stream to contribute because he was the one who came up with the idea. But tell me what you guys think, please. Let me know. Facebook.com/the Slam Sessions Podcast Network. You can go on there and suggest different shows that you want to see, different things you want to hear. Anything you want me to talk about. Obviously, wrestling figures might be one of the things we a lot of us may have in common. So if that's something you want me to cover more, that's something I'll definitely cover more. But yeah. Join me on Wednesday. Probably Wednesday night. I want to say somewhere around like 8, 9 o'clock, somewhere in that vicinity. I'm going to try to shoot for 8, but it might be 9, depending upon what time I get to work, which is very dicey now that I didn't go today because of the snow. But we'll see. If I'm out early enough, I'm going to try to shoot for 8, but maybe 9. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for the likes. Thank you guys for the views. And thank you guys for being here. This was so much fun. Thanks, Zach. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to doing this